arches, the great stabilizer of the body. We oftentimes don't think about the body just like our house, that we need to set really great foundations to have well-run structures up above, solid, stable, lasting a lifetime for each and every one of us. Well, today we're going to share some of that information about the truth of how every single part of our body is interconnected with other parts. And we're going to relate it today to the importance of those arches as stabilizers for our system. If you're new to this, I'm Dr. Joseph Baker from the Limerick Chiropractic Center, and I want to welcome you. For those of you that are patients, this is part of your care in our office. All of our patients are well-educated individuals, able to make better healthcare choices because of having that great information. Now, like I said, today we're going to be talking about this body of yours, just like a house. And when we're building this house, what is the first thing that we do? Well, the first thing that we do is actually get a rendering or an understanding of what is needed in order to support it the way it's supposed to. And that support system, that happens to be the foundation. Now, that foundation, it is unseen. It is there. It's not within, the open view, but it's constantly being engaged. It's constantly doing things in order to help us to make sure that the structure up above stays nice and stable so that it's able to actually last a lifetime. Now, for our bodies, just like the house, there's a number of different types of foundations. And this is so important because one size does not fit all. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest problems that we come up against routinely. One of the biggest questions that I have to answer regarding, shoes, footwear, inserts, orthotics, is the fact that not all stabilizers are created the same. In fact, many of you have probably seen some of these on the shelves. You walk into a Walmart, a Rite Aid, a GNC, whatever the store might be, and you can see these littered across the shelves. Walk up and see what looks pretty. See what sounds like it matches up with what you need or how you think your body is functioning. And yet the problem is that, these are mass produced across the board for very generic profiles. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it fits exactly for you. I don't know. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. In our office, oftentimes we utilize a technique in order to actually make sure that we're getting the most appropriate fit, the best match, sort of like the fingerprint that you have on your thumb. We're able to use that casting, that molding in order to ensure that the product that's produced is going to match up exactly with the arches that are within your body so that they're able to maintain the system the way it's supposed to. Now, I think we should pause for just a second. We're talking about these stabilizers, these arch supports, these orthotics, but really, what does it boil down to? It boils down to how much stress is removed from your nervous system, away from your body. See, in the end, the goal is to make sure that this body of ours is as balanced as possible so that the stress on the nervous system, on that spine of yours, is minimized. One of the great ways of doing that is by utilizing these particular products in order to make sure that your foundation is set properly. Now, in the end, yes, custom-made orthotics are exactly that. They are custom-made. They're an exact match for what your body needs. And one of the blessings is that there's numerous profiles that we're capable of creating to match up with the different types of shoes that you might wear. Maybe you need them for your cycling shoes or riding boots besides your sneakers or dress shoes. So often, patients will bring in their shoes in order to make sure that we get to see the profile of their footwear, their shoe, to ensure that what's being produced is going to fit within that particular shoe. It's really a wonderful thing. Now, the most important part of the entire process happens to be getting tested. Getting tested is simple, it's easy, it literally only takes 2 minutes. Now, oftentimes people say, well, how do you ever check the arches in somebody's feet? Well, it's simple and it's easy, and we utilize what's called a foot leveler's foot scan. There's a lot of scanners out there, but what this does is it helps us better understand simply the breakdown. It answers the question of how are those arches functioning? What most individuals sort of forget is that we don't have just one arch in our foot, we have 3 arches. And if all 3 of those arches aren't working in unison and functioning well together, then sadly, what ends up happening is, well, we have breakdown. In this diagram to the side here, you get to see how, the middle of the foot under a properly formed arch has no redness, no pressure, no contact. But when we have that brokenness, we're going to see that redness in between the pads of our feet or the pads of our heels and the front of our feet. That's not what we want. That means that the arches are broken down, and that means that we end up collapsing to the side. And we've seen what happens to a structure when those supports collapse. Well, the structure comes tumbling down. And in our case, with our body, what ends up happening is, yes, we see stresses up above. Maybe you're an individual that, you constantly have ankle sprains, or you have what's called chondromalacia patella, or runner's knee. See, sadly, we oftentimes think it's just a problem with my knee, it's just a problem with my ankle, or my hip, or my low back. But sadly, we have to get to the root cause of why the body isn't functioning the way it's supposed to. And if we're not looking at the mechanics of the entire body, then we're not doing the best job we can for our patients. Hence the reason why in our office, with every patient, we walk through this process of reviewing the arches in their feet to ensure that they are functioning the way they're supposed to. Now, how do we get started? Well, if you're a patient at the Limerick Chiropractic Center, first and foremost, you've already had this done. You've had your arches tested. If in fact you have a family member though that has never been checked, guess what? The first thing is test the system. And in fact, if you're out there right now and you're an individual who might not be connected with any other chiropractic office, reach out to us. Whether you're in our area or outside of our area, we'll make sure that you get connected with some place that you're capable of actually having this scan done to ensure that you're put into the most appropriate device to help your body function better. You want to learn more about your choices, because in learning more about your choices, you get to make better healthcare decisions. And what a key factor, because once you're able to make those better decisions, you get to devise a plan. As children, we just simply do what feels good, which means that, listen, we could walk through a Walmart and pull off anything off the shelf we want. It might not be producing the outcome that we ultimately desire. And that's why when you're giving choices and you're giving that education, you can make those better healthcare choices. Finally, once you get put into a product, listen, big key. Take those orthotics, take those inserts and move them from shoe to shoe to shoe with you. We were just talking earlier today with one of our patients who they don't wear shoes in the house. In fact, they have house slippers or house shoes. And in fact, we talked about how we can, simply take those orthotics, those appliances, put them inside those particular shoes that we have for that unique purpose, and still have the support that we're supposed to have while we're walking around the house. So in the end, I'm going to encourage you. If you've never been checked, if you've never been tested, take that first step. I'm Dr. Joseph Baker from the Limerick Chiropractic Center.